If your life feels like it's falling apart right now, it might not be falling apart at all. God might be strategically removing things because He's about to elevate you to a level you've never experienced. But here's what most people don't understand: God removes before He elevates. He takes away before He gives more. He strips you down before He builds you up. In the next 25 minutes, I'm going to reveal the 7 specific things God removes when He's preparing to promote you. And number 7 is the most painful removal, but it's also the sign that your elevation is guaranteed. If you're losing things right now and wondering why, this video will change how you see everything. Let's begin. Before we dive into the 7 things God removes, you need to understand why He removes anything at all. God doesn't remove things to punish you. He removes things to prepare you. He's not taking from you, He's making room in you. He's not stripping you, He's positioning you. Think about it like this: you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. You can't put new clothes on a dirty body. You can't build a skyscraper on a weak foundation. Before God gives you more, He has to remove what would contaminate, limit, or destroy what He's about to give you. The Bible is full of examples. God removed Joseph from his family before elevating him to palace. He removed Moses from Egypt before elevating him to deliverer. He removed David from comfort before elevating him to king. He removed Paul from his old life before elevating him to apostle. In every case, the removal felt like loss. It looked like failure. It seemed like God forgot them. But God was strategically removing what they couldn't take to their next level. Right now, if things are leaving your life, relationships, jobs, opportunities, comfort, security, you might be in a divine removal season. God is clearing your life because He's about to fill it with something greater. The key is recognizing what's being removed and why. When you understand God's removal process, you stop mourning the losses and start preparing for the elevation. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 specific things God removes during elevation seasons. If you're experiencing multiple removals from this list, get ready. Your promotion is closer than you think. Let's start with removal number 1. Removal number 1, people who don't believe in your future. The first thing God removes when He's elevating you is people who don't believe in where you're going. This is one of the most painful removals because it often includes people you love. Friends you've had for years. Family members you're close to. People who were there for your past but can't see your future. Here's what this removal looks like. Friends start distancing themselves, people who used to call don't anymore. Friendships that were solid begin fading. You feel the shift, and so do they. It's not drama, it's just distance. They don't support your vision. When you talk about your dreams, they're silent or skeptical. They don't celebrate your wins. They question your decisions. They think you're being unrealistic. You outgrow the relationship, you're changing, growing, evolving. They're comfortable staying where they are. You're moving forward. They're staying put. The gap becomes too wide to bridge. They're threatened by your growth, your elevation makes them uncomfortable. Your progress highlights their stagnation. Instead of being inspired, they feel insecure. Instead of cheering you on, they subtly discourage you. God orchestrates the separation. Sometimes God just creates distance. People move away. Life circumstances separate you naturally. You don't force it, God does it for you. You feel like you're losing everyone. This is the hard part. It might feel like you're losing your whole support system. You're not losing them, you're being repositioned for new connections. Why does God remove these people? Because their belief ceiling becomes your blessing ceiling. If they can only see you as who you were, they'll limit who you're becoming. Their small vision for you will constrain God's big vision for you. You can't take everyone to your next level. Some people are assigned to seasons, not lifetimes. God removes them not as punishment to you or them, but as protection for your future. The Bible shows this clearly. Abraham had to leave his family to reach his promise. Ruth left her people to reach her destiny. Jesus limited who was in his inner circle because not everyone could handle where he was going. Your new level requires new relationships with people who see your future, not just your past. God removes old connections to make room for new ones. I know someone who lost her entire friend group when she started pursuing her purpose. It was devastating. She felt completely alone. But within 6 months, she connected with 5 new people who believed in her vision, supported her dream, and helped her reach levels her old friends couldn't even imagine. The removal was necessary for the new connections. If people are leaving your life, especially people who don't believe in where you're going, that's removal number 1. God is clearing space for your next level tribe. But there's more he removes. Let's look at removal number 2. Removal number 2, comfortable situations that keep you small. The second thing God removes when he's elevating you is comfortable situations that keep you small, safe, and stagnant. Comfort is one of the biggest enemies of calling. When you're comfortable, you stop growing. You stop risking. You stop reaching. God removes comfort to force you into growth. Here's what this removal looks like. Your job becomes uncomfortable. The job you've had for years suddenly feels wrong. You're restless. You're unsatisfied. You're bored. The paycheck isn't enough anymore. God is making you uncomfortable on purpose. Your living situation changes. You have to move. Your lease ends. You can't afford your place anymore. Circumstances force you out of your comfortable environment. Your routine gets disrupted. Things you could always count on become unpredictable. Your comfortable patterns get broken. Life feels chaotic. That's God shaking up your comfort zone. Security disappears. The safety nets you relied on are removed. The backup plans don't work. The guarantees aren't guaranteed anymore. You're forced to trust God instead of your circumstances. You can't stay where you are. Staying put is no longer an option. You have to move, change, grow, or step out. Comfort is not available anymore. It feels scary. This removal feels frightening because you're losing what felt safe. But God removes your comfort to develop your courage. Why does God remove comfort? Because your next level requires courage, faith, and risk. As long as you're comfortable, you'll never step into the uncomfortable places where your purpose lives. Comfort keeps you in your current capacity. But God is expanding your capacity for more. That requires discomfort. The caterpillar must leave the comfort of crawling to transform into a butterfly. The seed must break open in the uncomfortable darkness to become a plant. The Bible shows God constantly calling people out of comfort. He called Abraham out of his homeland. He called Moses out of the wilderness. He called Peter out of the boat. He called Paul out of his prestigious position. Every calling requires leaving comfort behind. Your elevation is on the other side of your comfort zone. God removes the comfort so you'll pursue the calling. I know a man who had a comfortable corporate job for 15 years. Good pay, benefits, security. Then everything changed. The job became miserable. He lost passion. He couldn't function there anymore. He was terrified, but he left. Within a year, he started a business aligned with his purpose. Today he makes 3 times what he made in that comfortable job and loves what he does. God removed comfort to push him into purpose. If your comfortable situations are becoming uncomfortable, that's removal number 2. God is pushing you toward your elevation. Now let's look at removal number 3. Removal number 3, dependencies that make you rely on anything but God. The third thing God removes when he's elevating you is dependencies, anything you're relying on more than you're relying on him. God wants to be your primary source. But if you're depending on people, money, jobs, relationships, or security more than you depend on him, he'll remove those dependencies to bring you back to complete trust in him alone. Here's what this removal looks like. Financial security gets shaken, savings deplete. Income sources dry up. Unexpected expenses appear. Your financial cushion disappears. God is teaching you to depend on His provision, not your resources. People you depended on become unavailable. The friend who always helped you can't anymore. The family member you relied on is suddenly dealing with their own issues. People you leaned on aren't there. God is teaching you to lean on Him. Your plans keep failing. You plan, strategize, and work hard, but nothing goes as planned. Every backup plan fails. God is showing you that His plan is better than yours. Your strength runs out. You reach the end of your capacity. You can't do it yourself anymore. You're exhausted, depleted, empty. God is showing you that His strength is made perfect in your weakness. You're forced to pray. When everything else fails, prayer becomes your only option. That's exactly where God wants you, completely dependent on Him. You learn what provision really means. God provides, but not always how you expect. He teaches you that He's your source, not your job, your spouse, or your savings account. Why does God remove dependencies? Because He's about to give you something so big that only He can sustain it. Your next level requires complete trust. If you're still depending on lesser things, you won't be able to handle what He's about to give you. The Bible shows God removing dependencies repeatedly. He removed the Israelites' dependency on Egypt before giving them the promised land. He removed Elijah's dependency on the brook before sending him to the widow. He removed the disciples' dependency on Jesus' physical presence before sending the Holy Spirit. Every elevation requires deeper dependence on God. He removes what you're relying on so you'll rely solely on Him. When you do, He can trust you with greater blessings because you know who the source is. I know a woman who lost her job, her savings, and her financial support all in 3 months. She was forced to trust God in ways she never had before. During that season, she prayed more, trusted more, and grew closer to God than ever. When the blessing came, it was bigger than anything she'd lost. And she never forgot that God was her source. If God is removing your dependencies, that's removal number 3. He's positioning you for blessings so big that only He can sustain them. Now let's look at removal number 4. Removal number 4, old mindsets that don't match your new level. The fourth thing God removes when He's elevating you is old mindsets, limiting beliefs, and thought patterns that won't work at your next level. You can't think like who you were and become who you're meant to be. God removes old thinking to replace it with renewed thinking that matches your elevation. Here's what this removal looks like. You start seeing things differently. Perspectives you've held for years suddenly shift. You question beliefs you never questioned. You see situations from new angles. Your worldview is expanding. Old beliefs get challenged. Things you thought were true don't hold up anymore. Limiting beliefs get exposed. You realize thoughts you had about yourself, God, or life were wrong. You become uncomfortable with old conversations. Topics your friends discuss feel shallow. Gossip bothers you now when it didn't before. Complaining irritates you. Your interests have evolved. You outgrow victim mentality. You stop blaming others. You stop seeing yourself as powerless. You take responsibility for your life. You recognize your agency. Scarcity thinking gets replaced. Fear of lack is replaced with faith for abundance. You stop thinking small. You start thinking bigger about what's possible. You develop kingdom mindset. You start thinking about purpose, impact, and legacy instead of just survival and comfort. Your focus shifts from temporal to eternal. Why does God remove old mindsets? Because your thinking creates your reality. If you think like someone who's broke, oppressed, and limited, you'll live that way even if He blesses you. God has to renew your mind before He elevates your life. The Bible says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This renewal is often uncomfortable because you're unlearning and relearning. Old mindsets die hard. But they must die for new mindsets to take root. Your next level requires thinking you haven't done before. God removes the old programming to install new programming that matches where He's taking you. I know someone who grew up with poverty mindset. Even when opportunities came, he sabotaged them because deep down he didn't believe he deserved success. God had to break that mindset through painful experiences that challenged his beliefs. Today, he thinks completely differently about money, success, and his worth. The mindset shift preceded the financial breakthrough. If your thoughts, beliefs, and perspectives are being challenged and changed, that's removal number 4. God is renewing your mind for your new reality. Now let's talk about removal number 5. Removal number 5, distractions that steal your focus from your purpose. The 5th thing God removes when He's elevating you is distractions, anything that pulls your attention, time, and energy away from your purpose. When God is ready to use you at a higher level, He removes everything that would prevent you from focusing on what really matters. Your purpose requires your full attention, and distractions must go. Here's what this removal looks like. Time-wasting activities lose their appeal, things you used to spend hours doing suddenly bore you. TV shows don't interest you. Social media feels empty. Mindless entertainment doesn't satisfy anymore. You lose interest in drama, other people's drama doesn't pull you in. Gossip doesn't appeal to you. Conflicts that used to consume your energy don't anymore. You just don't care. Busy work disappears, tasks that kept you busy but didn't move you forward somehow get removed from your plate. You're freed from obligations that were just filling time. You get selective about your time, you start saying no. You protect your time fiercely. You recognize that every yes to something minor is a no to something major. Your priorities clarify, what's truly important becomes crystal clear. Everything else fades into the background. Your purpose becomes your primary focus. Opportunities you used to chase don't appeal anymore, things that looked attractive before don't anymore. You're no longer distracted by shiny objects. You stay focused on your lane. Why does God remove distractions? Because your purpose requires laser focus. You can't fulfill your calling while being pulled in 100 directions. God narrows your focus by removing what pulls you off course. The Bible shows Jesus constantly removing distractions. He withdrew from crowds. He said no to things that weren't his assignment. He stayed focused on his purpose despite countless opportunities to be distracted. Your elevation requires that same focus. God removes distractions so you can zero in on what you're actually called to do. Every distraction removed is focus returned to your purpose. I know a person who was involved in 20 different activities and commitments. When God started elevating them, circumstances removed 15 of those commitments. At first it felt like loss. But with that focused time and energy, they accomplished more in 1 year than they had in the previous 10. The removal of distractions allowed them to focus on their actual calling. If distractions are losing their grip on you and your focus is sharpening, that's removal number 5. God is clearing your vision for your mission. Now we're getting to the deeper removals. Let's look at number 6. Removal number 6, old versions of yourself that no longer serve your future. The 6th thing God removes when He's elevating you is old versions of yourself, old habits, old patterns, old behaviors that won't work in your new season. This is one of the hardest removals because you're not losing something external. You're losing parts of yourself. God is killing the old you to birth the new you. Here's what this removal looks like. Your personality shifts, you're not who you used to be. Friends notice. Family comments on it. You're different. More serious. More focused. Less tolerant of things you used to accept. Old coping mechanisms stop working, ways you dealt with stress before don't work anymore. Old escapes don't satisfy. Your usual responses to situations fail. You're outgrowing yourself, you look at your past self and barely recognize them. You're embarrassed by who you were. You can't believe you thought, acted, or lived that way. Painful self-awareness increases, you see your flaws clearly. Your weaknesses are exposed. Your character deficiencies are undeniable. This awareness is uncomfortable but necessary. You're being refined. God is putting you through fire to burn away impurities. This process is painful. You're being stretched, tested, and developed in ways that hurt. You feel like you're dying. This removal feels like death because something in you is dying. The old self must die for the new self to emerge. It's a spiritual metamorphosis. Your identity is shifting. Who you thought you were is no longer who you're becoming. Your identity is being rebuilt. This is disorienting and uncomfortable. Why does God remove old versions of you? Because your next level requires a better version of you. The person who got you here can't get you there. You must evolve. God won't give you blessings that the old you would destroy. The Bible talks about dying to self, putting off the old man, and being transformed. This isn't metaphorical, it's literal. Parts of you must die for new parts to live. This is the caterpillar to butterfly transformation. The caterpillar doesn't just get wings added. It completely dissolves in the cocoon. It dies to who it was to become who it's meant to be. That's what's happening to you. I know someone who went through this painful transformation. Old behaviors that worked for years suddenly didn't. Old coping strategies failed. They felt like they were losing their mind and themselves. But what emerged was someone stronger, wiser, and more aligned with purpose. The old version had to die for the new version to live. If you feel like parts of you are dying, if you're being refined and changed in painful ways, that's removal number 6. The old you is making room for the new you. Now we're ready for the 7th and most significant removal. Removal number 7, your comfort with obscurity. The 7th and final thing God removes when He's elevating you is your comfort with obscurity and hiding. This is the removal that confirms your elevation is imminent. God is removing your preference for staying small, hidden, and unnoticed. He's preparing you to be seen, known, and used publicly for His purposes. Here's what this final removal looks like. You can't hide anymore. Situations force you into visibility. You're asked to speak, lead, or step forward. Opportunities to be seen appear even though you're not seeking them. Your gifts can't stay hidden. What you've been developing in private is ready for public display. Your skills, talents, and abilities demand a platform. You're uncomfortable staying small. You used to prefer being in the background. Now something in you is restless with obscurity. You feel called to step up even though it's scary. People start noticing you, doors open. Invitations come. You get asked to take positions you didn't apply for. God is positioning you for influence. You're prepared for more responsibility. All the testing, refining, and developing was preparing you to handle visibility, influence, and responsibility. You're ready now. Fear tries to stop you. With this removal comes fear. Imposter syndrome. Self-doubt. Worry about being seen. This fear is the enemy's last attempt to keep you hidden. You step forward anyway. Despite fear, you step forward. You accept opportunities. You let yourself be seen. You stop hiding your light. Why does God remove comfort with obscurity? Because your purpose isn't just for you. Your elevation isn't just for your benefit. God is raising you up to impact others. He needs you visible. The Bible shows this pattern. Moses couldn't stay hidden in the wilderness. David couldn't stay hidden tending sheep. Esther couldn't stay hidden in the palace. When it was time for their purpose, God removed their obscurity. Your preparation in the dark is complete. Now it's time for your presentation in the light. God is removing your comfort with being hidden because He's ready to show you off. This is the scariest removal because being seen feels vulnerable. But this removal confirms that God trusts you with influence. He spent years preparing you for this moment. Now He's ready to use you publicly. I know a woman who spent 20 years developing her gift in private. She taught small Bible studies, mentored women one-on-one, never seeking a platform. Then suddenly, opportunities flooded in. Invitations to speak. Requests to write. Offers to lead. She was terrified. But she recognized this as God removing her obscurity. Today she impacts thousands. The private preparation was for public presentation. If God is removing your comfort with hiding and pushing you toward visibility, that's removal number 7. Your elevation is here. It's time to step into your purpose publicly. What to do when God is removing. You now know the 7 things God removes when He's elevating you. People who don't believe in your future. Comfortable situations that keep you small. Dependencies that make you rely on anything but God. Old mindsets that don't match your new level. Distractions that steal your focus from purpose. Old versions of yourself that no longer serve your future. Your comfort with obscurity and hiding. If you're experiencing multiple removals from this list, don't panic. Don't fight it. Don't try to hold on to what God is taking away. Let it go. What He's removing is making room for what He's about to give you. Here's what to do during removal seasons. Trust the process. God knows what He's doing. Every removal is strategic. Trust Him even when it hurts. Grieve if you need to. Loss is real even when it's divine. It's okay to mourn what's leaving. Just don't stay stuck there. Stay obedient. Keep doing what God told you to do. Don't let the removals make you quit. Watch for the new. While God removes the old, He's preparing the new. Watch for new relationships, opportunities, and doors opening. Prepare for your elevation. Use this time to develop skills, build character, and get ready for what's coming. Testify when it comes. When your elevation arrives, share your story. Your removal season will become someone else's encouragement. Comment, God is elevating me, to declare your faith that these removals are divine positioning for promotion. Like this video and subscribe for more encouraging spiritual content. Share this with someone who's losing things right now and needs to understand why. Remember, God doesn't remove to hurt you. He removes to help you. He's not taking from you. He's making room in you. What feels like loss is actually preparation for gain. Your elevation isn't someday. It's now. The removals are proof. God is clearing your life because He's about to fill it with something greater than anything you've lost. Don't fight the removal. Cooperate with it. Let go of what's leaving. Get ready for what's coming. Your new level awaits. Your elevation is here. Everything being removed is making room for everything being added. Trust God. Trust the process. Trust that what He's removing is making space for what He's bringing. Your best days aren't behind you. They're ahead of you. And they're closer than you think. Until next time, embrace the removal, expect the elevation, and get ready to step into everything God has prepared for you.